The groundhogs didn't see their shadows. I don't always trust Punxsutawney Phil, but General Beauregard Lee did not see his shadow. So here comes spring. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. I had the strangest interaction with my mail carrier the other day, and unfortunately, he didn't have Cotton Cut's Tree of Life in tow with him. I had just gotten home from work, and he was next door at my neighbor's one house up delivering mail. So I pulled into my garage and bolted down the driveway of doom so that he didn't have to climb it, since I knew he had a parcel for me. And as he's handing me my mail and stuff, he's like, "You sew, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I thought so. I delivered a whole bunch of packages with fabric and thread and stuff." I was like, "Yeah, I quilt. It's a lot of fun to do, and it's great, relaxing, and everything. And just I enjoy doing the cool little projects." He then proceeds to ask me if I would teach his daughter to sew. And I was stalling the whole thing because I'm like, yeah, I mean, you know my mail, but I barely know you, much less your daughter and stuff. But he added the whole concept that his mom sewed a lot and made a whole lot of clothes and stuff. And he never learned as part of his generation, but his daughter, who's apparently 17, is showing interest in such. So I basically, kind of pointed him to my local quilt shop where occasionally they have here's how to learn your sewing machine classes, because I really don't want to sit and try to teach somebody how to quilt, or to sew, especially if their interest is more towards garment sewing as opposed to quilting, because as garment sewing is a completely different ball game than quilting. It's not just the quarter-inch seam versus 5/8. It's curves, it's fun stuff, it's darts. Yeah, just all kinds of crazy stuff that I don't even know most of. So hopefully I might be able to get out of that. Like I said, I just said, you might want to look into one of the local shops just to get a basics and stuff, because if you don't know what you want to sew, there's no point in even me trying to say this is how to use a machine, because trying to figure out everybody else's machine, it's just crazy. Anyway, let's go to the fur kids. Riley needs to learn a little bit that when she's calmer and everything, she will get more attention than when she gets to be all crazy. There was this awesome lady this morning, as we were on our morning walk, and she stopped and was like, if you calm down, I will pet you. And Riley's just like, pet me. I know you, because we've talked to her in the past. And like the whole conversation, I'm like, Riley, if you're not calmed down, she's not going to give you any attention. And I gave her, 15 seconds worth of chances. And I was like, I'm sorry, you didn't, stay calm and everything, get the attention. And we just continued on. This was like three houses up the street. And as we turned around the bend, my neighbor across the street was outside, and Riley was like, "Okay, let's go see him. Let's go see him." And now I needed to chat with him because we sent out a SOS on behalf of my other next door neighbor, whose mother-in-law's Prius decided not to start. Which I always thought that the battery inside the Prius should be able to start the or charge the battery that's does the engine part or whatever. I don't know it. I don't understand those things, but yeah, he wasn't around and he was apologizing. I was like, don't apologize. You don't have to be responsible for everything in all 24 hours. But Riley got to say hi to him and everything. So at least he got a little bit, or she got a little bit of calm with that. Percy got upset with me this weekend, but ended up turning around to be all happy. Friday afternoon, I got a call from his doctor's office saying, you know, he knew that they knew that the doctor's office called saying that they knew that Percy had gone through the radio cat treatment, and they had another cat that was about to go through the whole thing, and they were talking to the radio cat people, and instead of a 3 month follow up, they want to do a 6 month follow up with the blood work. And I said, I was about to call you to get the 3 month follow up scheduled, because that would have been uh, next weekish or the week after. I'd have to really look, and that makes it so much easier because then I don't have to schedule around other things. But I would like to call and get his, or I would like to go and get his arthritis shot at some point. And I got an appointment at 1 o'clock in order to get his quick injection. It was, always a pain to get him into his carrier. He will go once he realizes there's no choice, but, conning him in there is always crazy. I got him to the doctor's office while he complained the entire way. They brought him back immediately for his injection. We came home. He was silent on the way home, which, he's like, okay, I get to go home now. After about an hour or two, he was feeling fine. So I guess the injection worked really quickly. He was doing his usual, just, running around like he likes to, back to his old self. So I just need to start getting his a little bit more regularly than we've been getting. I usually get it when he starts to get a little bit slower, but I need to, you know, go before he starts getting slower. In my sewing room, I was a busy little bee this weekend. Saturday morning, I was on with Sean, the guy who sews, on his Brecky Live on his channel. We worked on Clue 7 of Carnival, and I got my colorway completed. This is the Clue 7A. I'm loving these fabrics. And it goes this way. This was the 7B. There were many comments that this kind of looks like a stove hood or something like that. And now that I see it, I can't unsee it. So I'm really excited. That means 7. That means we get 2 more months of actual clues to put together. And then month 10 will be putting it all together. So I'm very, very excited about that. And then a little bit after that, I did my 11sies live where I worked on the Fort Worth Fabric Studio week 2 of their Matters of the Heart sew along. This week's pattern had a lot of pieces with 128 half square triangles. I did the math just before I wrote the talking points of my script. And I realized that's a lot of pieces. We're doing 16 patches for this week's clue. I don't know how they're going to go together, but I, in my live, did the little twisty method to get these together so that we could, if they happen to go together side by side, to make sure everything nests. But this is the clue, or this week's portion of the sew along. I'm loving these fabrics. I got all of the directional pieces to go the same direction, but as I was starting to piece all of the rest of everything, I will not be able to get all of the clues, or all of the, why do I call everything clues? Thank you, Cotton Cuts. I won't be able to get all of the blocks to go the same direction. So I'm going to have one that goes the same direction. I may have two, but everything else is just going to end up being scrappy directions, and I'm going to have to live with it. I did not quite get all of the other blocks put together. I did get all the triangles cut, and I've got them sewn in pairs like I did on the live. So everything is ready, just needs to be pressed and then sewn together. I just ran out of time over the weekend with everything else that I had going on. Finally, Saturday evening on my friend Shannon of Slay Art's channel, we also did a sew up of Clue 7 of Cotton Cuts Carnival. This time I sewed up my sister's colorway, which is Sky Diver. This was the 7A. And if you look at how it compares to, uh, it would help if I put them in the same direction. The Ferris wheel colorway, you can see that they look completely different, even though they're the same pattern. So that was her 7A. This is her little stovepipe, as we're calling it. And again, when you put this side by side with the other one, you can tell that they're the same, but they look completely different. It was a lot of fun catching up with the folks in that live and just sharing everything else with the whole cotton cut stuff, and we're just loving how everything is coming together. And speaking of cotton cuts, I will be sewing up Tree of Life for a coworker along with one for me. So I'm still doing two puzzle mystery quilts at the same time. I got a photo this morning from that same coworker, and she sent a picture saying, "Look what showed up." I'm thrilled for her. It just means that she's going to bring it into the office on Monday and say, "Hey, look, give it back to me in about 10 or so months with everything completed." And I looked at the post office tracking for mine. It still says pre-shipment. So I don't know whether that just means they only got a handful of the colorways out to the post office, or whether the post office did not scan anything yet as they got picked up. I don't know. I don't care as long as I get my clues at some point in the next week or so, depending on how long it takes and everything. Because I've still got plenty of stuff to work on, but I also don't want to push it off to the end like I ended up doing with Village Green last year. What do I have for goals this week? The big one that I have is I need to finish week 2 of Matters of the Heart. There are 8 blocks in that week's set of instructions, and I've got one completely done, and then I've got basically the rest of them in quadrants ready to start being put together. Actually, it's less than quadrants, they're eighths pieces ready to get ironed and sewn the rest of the way together. I did manage to recover from my flub of miscutting. That was an adventure, but I still don't know how I did it. I really don't know how I did it. I just know that I have all the pieces that I need. It works. So I'm very amazed. I don't know how I did it, but I will get them done. As I said, don't know how I'm going to deal with my OCD with the directionality, but I will get it figured out. The second thing I need to do is I need to figure out when I'm doing my live next week. Normally, I go live Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, but this coming Saturday, my friend Steven of Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter is having his 10,000 subscriber bash celebration. He's hosting an all-day event, and I plan on being there. And since most of my subscribers will also be there, it's kind of pointless to go live with nobody showing up. So I'm debating on either doing something on Friday evening at some point or Sunday morning. If it's Friday evening, it'll be after I pick up Riley from daycare, so probably 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And if it is Sunday morning, it's going to be fairly early because I do not want to butt into Shannon's Sunday brunch because like there's nothing better than Sunday brunch. I will have a little title card up on YouTube sometime Thursday to let you know whether or not I will be live on Friday or Sunday. It just really depends on the shenanigans that happen at work. Uh, I think that's about it for today. I still feel like I'm missing something, but life comes up and I don't have to tell everything that I seem to have going through my head. Thank you so much for watching. If you are not already, please consider subscribing to my channel and definitely like that video. Subscribing to the channel doesn't cost you anything and it lets YouTube know that you enjoy my content. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy and keep stitching.